Hello world, Alexandre Buckley here, and let's talk games. So we are back again with another game from Apple Arcade, and if you don't know what Apple Arcade is, I have a video down in the description where it tells you all about it, it tells you what's going on, but I also have a review as well, so if you want a big overview of what the service is, then we'll cover that as well. But in essence, in brief, what it is you pay a monthly fee to basically get access to exclusive games on Apple's new gaming platform, which will work on your mobile phone, your iPad, and any of your favorite Apple devices, and then you can download and play as many of these games as you want. And if you don't like them, you can delete them, and there's no penalties. There are no adverts or no microtransactions or anything evil like that. But you do get loads of exclusive games. So we're checking out one of those games today, NeoCab. And I'm going to go out there and say that I'm on a good run at the moment because the games I'm starting to find now are really interesting and really unique and really engaging, and they have these great visual styles, and I say this is the most beautiful looking game that I found on the platform so far. I thought it was going to be that skating game that I reviewed earlier, but this is the one. I'm digging this art style, I'm digging the music. It's just everything about this game just feels premium, just feels awesome. I mean, look at this. And do you know what I think this is? I really do like Telltale's Walking Dead series on the PlayStation and Xbox, where they're sort of these story-based games where you walk around, you interact, and the story can change and pivot down different sort of avenues depending on what your character says. So yeah, long before Netflix and Bandersnatch and Black Mirror did all that thing where you could pick things on your TV, you had games like that. You had Heavy Rain, which was another game that sort of started this kind of trend off where your story can branch off in different ways. And this is another one of those games where essentially you play as essentially a taxi driver. I mean, you can see the video here, you can pretty much read the subtitles and see what's going on, but essentially you play as a taxi driver who essentially has been stiffed by the company that used to hire her. They've basically gone towards automation, and they've gone, you know what, humans are great and everything, but it'll be cheaper for us not to have humans, and it'll be a lot better for us financially if we have these cars that are sort of driverless and can do the job for you. So now you play as this taxi driver who is going to move to a new city. She's going to sort of get her life back on track, but she wants to keep her taxi rating up and she wants to get some money and stuff like that. Very simple plot, although there's a lot more going on in the background here. There's a hint of a story here, which with a friend in the new city that will sort of spread out over a few nights. You're currently looking at the first level, so I don't want to give too much away in case you do want to dive in and see this. But yeah, that is basically the story, and all you literally do is find customers, interact with the customers, have these unique stories with them, you know, and then try and keep your rating. That's the thing you've got to keep in mind, that, you know, you can't make a living if your rating plummets. So you've got to try and keep your rating high by having these conversations, by saying what's the best thing. Now, sometimes the customer in the back will say something that will trigger you and will sort of trigger a reaction. And if you say the wrong thing, or you get too, aggressive or emotional about something. See, I want to be careful with that kind of wording, because I don't mean emotional in like you can't handle the situation. It's more like, so for example, this first level, this customer here, she asks him, what are you doing? He says he's going to take a photo of her old company, who have this really fantastic looking building. And the problem is, because she's just left this company, that's a trigger point for her, and she doesn't like that company. And she explains that she doesn't like them in that building because it shows they have a huge monopoly on the market, and that's why they can afford these big grandiose buildings. Now the thing is, the customer doesn't really care about that. The customer doesn't need to know about her backstory that much. So but there's a nice balance there, because it creates this nice dynamic when you're talking to the customer, and they respond sort of naturally. So you get more of an insight into who they are, but you also get insight into where she's coming from. There's a lot going on, and this is the most story-driven game that I've found so far on the platform, and I freaking love it. It's so good. It's so good. And I tell you what, this is a weird one, and I'm going to say arguably this is the best game on the platform that I've played so far. Easily the best game by far. It's the most unique game I've found on the platform so far, and it's the game I'm probably going to spend the most time playing, because I like these type of games, but I love the story in it as well, and I just think it's an interesting concept. Now, I won't lie, the downside of this game, there's a few downsides, and one of them is I don't know how much depth and weight they're going to have into this story. So as long as the story stays engaging, as long as the story keeps moving, this is going to work absolutely fine. But there are a few downsides. At the moment, there is a lot of you doing nothing, which is like, sure, whatever. A lot of it's you just watching a story, which kind of works well if you're traveling, because if you're traveling to work or whatever, you don't really need to interact too much with it. You just need to sort of pay attention, listen to the story, get really involved in it, and then just pick the correct kind of responses. And different responses will make a different branch of storyline, so your game could be different from someone else's, which is awesome. The only downside to that is I found when I was just watching it and just getting absorbed with the story, my screen would start to dim because it'd be like you're not interacting with the actual screen. So it's like, are you still there? Are you? So that's a slight thing, but you could probably tweak that in the settings, but I couldn't work out a way to do that. That's one. The second thing is the frame rate. And to be fair, this is not like an Apple Arcade knock. I had this on the PS4 when I played the Walking Dead games. I had this briefly with Heavy Rain when I played that on the PS3 and the remaster on the PS4. Just the nature of these games where you select different branching storylines, you will get a drop in frame rate while the game slowly catches up with itself and loads a different branch, which kind of takes you out of the experience. They haven't really polished that over yet, but that being said, it's still very enjoyable. So they were the main sort of flaws I had with this game. The things that are great, visually stunning, just stunning. Again, I think you're getting robbed a bit of the visuals here because I've recorded this off my iPhone and then sort of exported it into Final Cut and all that fun stuff. But the style is really interesting, it's really unique, and I like that. I like that it looks different, and I like that. The audio is fantastic, so you don't actually hear the dialogue that's being said, which I'm in two minds about, because on the one hand, when I played the Walking Dead game, they did move their mouths and stuff, but there was like a weird delay of about 10 seconds. And that's because the game's trying to catch up on itself as you select different outcomes and stuff. And it does throw you out the story a bit, but then it also felt like more of a story, because when it did match up, because it matched up occasionally when it didn't have to load a branching storyline, it felt more immersive, like I was watching a live action comic book. With this, they're very expressive, but they don't really move as they're talking. So like now the character's saying something, they don't really move their mouth, which is kind of what's going on here. So, you know, it's a little bit of a weird one. But yeah, I still dig the art style, but the audio, the music changes as you're driving, as you get to a different destination, it changes slightly, and it's a very unique custom soundtrack that kind of reflects your character's state, I found. I don't know if it's just me, but I noticed that when she was kind of apprehensive and on edge, the music was kind of a bit more fast paced, and then when she got her customer, it kind of mellowed out and chilled. So I quite liked that dynamic music as well. I thought it was really, really interesting. So yeah, NeoCab is a great game. It's easily the best game on the platform, it's the most unique game on the platform, it's the game I've had the most fun playing. I think everyone should get this game. That's that simple. But here's the thing, and I always bring this up because Apple Arcade is a weird thing for me, and I've already done my review and I kind of made this point that the thing that's the most appealing with Apple Arcade is it does raise the question, do you need a traditional games console now? Is that something we need? Can you get that console quality level of games onto this platform? Can you do it? The main reason we ask that is because I've been looking at mobile games in general, and with mobile games, we're at the point that the mobile phones are so powerful that you can run things like flagship titles from a few years ago, like your GTA San Andreas and stuff like that, which is really impressive. So it makes you wonder, can we get something on our mobile phones that is console quality that would compete, basically? And the answer is kinda, not really. We're kind of a step before that at the moment. So the only other way to do it is by having unique IPs which can compete with the best on a console. Now, I would say NeoCab is the closest thing so far to that. It's not there yet, but it's really close. It's really, really close, and it's really good as well. And it does kind of remind me of sort of the Heavy Rains. It does kind of remind me of the Walking Dead games. And it does remind me of the, if you played the Batman games, just realised Telltale did the Batman Arkham games as well. And I think they did Guardians of the Galaxy one as well, so you may have come across one of their IPs. It's really close to all that kind of stuff. So I feel like this is like so close to being it though. So close. If I'd be honest with you, if this came out on like the PlayStation 4 and I found this in the PlayStation Store, I'd buy this. Like, I'd easily pay for this game. And this is one of the first games that I've played in Apple Arcade that I've gone, no, I'd actually buy this. But then again, it does depend if you're into the story or not. If you're not in the story, this kind of lives or dies by that story. And if you're not into it, then it's a tough sell. So that's kind of NeoCab in a nutshell. Visually beautiful game, great audio, great story for me personally, and it's the most unique game. There are a few downsides to it, but I think it's the most interesting game on the platform so far. I highly recommend it. I think you should definitely check this game out. It's fantastic. And that's going to do it for my review this time. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you didn't like that video, well, then the other button kind of does work, but why click it? Why not just leave me a comment instead and give me some feedback on how we can make things better? Because you know what? Feedback is the best way to move forward, and I'd really appreciate some feedback. If you do like my videos, please hit the subscribe button, because that does help me grow the platform and it helps me get, you know, a better sense of what's working and what's not working. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to have more videos about Apple Arcade coming out pretty soon, and I'm working on some other stuff as well. But yeah, please check out all the other content on my channel. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. So I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Bye.